One last NFL game for the week. Seattle hosting Philadelphia. We're going to take that game apart in great detail. We got Brian Power, who will look at the total. Carmine Bianco is coming on to discuss a prop. But before we get into any of that, Bryan Leonard, welcome to WagerTalk Today. How are you, my friend? How was your weekend?
Every weekend was good. Everything was good. And I got a chance to see you in person last week, and you and Teddy both. So, yeah, it was a good week for me.
Teddy, one sec. Yeah, Brian, we got to see you in person at that fabulous bar to watch that game. Yeah, believe it.
And I have a question at the end of it. Did we end up even using the coupon that we made us go there? Or we didn't even use it?
Well, I had a coupon, 50% off. And when Prez showed up, Marco said, let Prez write it off and let Prez pay for it. So I said, we'll use it next time.
Oh, so
no.
we went all the way to that shithole. Okay. Let's get into it, man. You got two hockey bets for us tonight. Teddy, get some action.
Yeah, let's start with Anaheim at Detroit. Right now, look at the WagerTalk Live odds screen. I'm seeing the Detroit Red Wings anywhere minus 220 to minus 240 home favorites. Total 6.5, a little bit of juice to the under. What are we going to do with the Ducks and the Wings Monday night NHL?
Just want to let you know that both these plays today are my actual hockey plays on today's card. I do have 3 college basketball plays up. College basketball is going very well. I'm number 4. Fourth place on the season in college basketball. And I do want to congratulate Dave Koken, who has passed me for number 1 in NHL profit this year. I've been number 1 for probably the last month or so, but Dave's gotten hot and he's doing very well. So congratulations to our old friend Dave. Anaheim and Detroit. This is a segment of a back-to-back for the Ducks, who shocked the Devils last night in New Jersey 5-1. There wasn't a lot of people that saw that coming. But over the last 10 games in 5-on-5 play, Anaheim has a 30.56 goal for percentage, 46.80 expected goal for percentage. This Anaheim team has just underperformed their model numbers all year long. 30.56 reminds me of what San Jose was earlier in the season before they put it all together. So I'm not expecting many goals out of Anaheim, especially coming off of that 5-goal outing in New Jersey. On the season, Ducks games average 3.53 goals in 5-on-5 play. If you take a look at the last 10, they're at 36. So basically, we got a team that if you take out the power play and power play goals, they're only averaging about 3.5 goals in their games this season. Only one of the last 6 road games for Anaheim has surpassed this current total, and that was only made it to 7. Detroit, in that same time frame of 10 games on 5-on-5 play, has had 38 goals scored with a goal for percentage of 50, expected goal percentage of 45.25 on the season. The Red Wings games average 4.03 goals in 5-on-5 play, which is basically what they've been doing lately. So we got one team's averaging about 3.5 goals 5-on-5, and our team averaging 4. The only way we lose this game is if we get 3 power play goals. I don't expect that to happen. With Detroit, 5 of the last 6 Detroit home games have stayed under this total of 6.5. I'm playing this game under.
Bri, listen, obviously we handicap hockey differently. I look at these 2 games and I'm like, okay, Detroit is a stone cold over. 13-9 on the season. So many of their games go over. My question to you is, you're handicapping in a 5-on-5 environment.
Mm-hmm.
Yet we know there's going to be power plays. Teddy, when he looks at NFL, one of the things he likes to talk about is yards per play. I want to talk about points. Bottom line, goals. It doesn't matter how you come by them. It doesn't matter if they're empty netters. It doesn't matter if they're power play goals. There are going to be power plays in this game. Do you just not include the power plays in your handicaps normally?
In my original handicap, no, I don't, because we don't know how many times there's going to be a power play in a game. There's games where teams don't have power plays. There's games where teams have, 7 power plays. And plus, once you get into a power play situation, you're only going to score a goal 23% of the time anyway. So if you've got eight penalties, 8 power plays in the game, you're going to have 2 goals. That still keeps us under this total. I don't want to handicap the refs in a game. It's just impossible to do. I'm trying to make it as easy as possible. And when the vast majority of the game is played on 5-on-5, that's what I want to take a look at. It's sort of like if you're betting NBA and you're counting how many foul shots these teams get. It all depends on how many fouls are in the game. And even though your average foul shooter in the NBA will hit 72, 73%, you don't know if they're going to be on that day or off that day. So I was watching a game the other day. A team was like 32 or 32 from the foul line. You can't handicap that. So I break it down to the easiest way to handicap. And if a team gets 7 power plays and they score 4 goals off of power plays, I'll take that risk. I'm looking for the long run. And as you can tell by my records over the years in the NHL, this seems to work for me.
Yep, you're doing amazing. Teddy slacks me, Bry, and says, let me read verbatim. You need some follow-up training. Teddy was not happy with my follow-up question.
I'm not.
So
It's the approach.
I'll start the training. Do you have any suggestions on where I can go for my follow-up training?
Sure, I'll be happy to help you, Lawrence. So when it comes to a follow-up question, your job is not to be right. It's not to look smart. Your job is to come up with something you're concerned about, anything you're concerned about, and ask your guest about it. You try to do it in a timely fashion. You don't try to give 90 seconds on your opinion of the game and then debate the guest about his
look how mad
play.
he's getting.
I'm just saying.
Dude, I
Brian
am sick as a dog.
That's all I have to say.
I have a fever. I am dripping sweat. Whatever the case may be, I felt like I gave Brian an opportunity to discuss his approach to handicapping conceptually. So I'm pretty happy with my follow-up question. Natural 8 thought my follow-up question was a bit too long. Okay, fair enough. It might have been a bit too long. I will do better. Bry, the next game, another hockey game. And don't you worry, everybody. We're going deep into the NFL game tonight a little later in the show. Montreal at Winnipeg. I mean, this Winnipeg team, Bry, nobody saw this coming. And they are now number 1 in their division, playing outstanding hockey. Montreal's also playing above their heads. How do we handicap this game?
Over the last 10 games, 5-on-5 play. Canadiens have a 44.12 goal for percentage, 48.41 unexpected. 44.12, once again, is not good. You want to be 50% or better if you're going to win hockey games. In those 10 games, there have been 34 total goals in 5-on-5 play. And over the last 11 road games, only 3 contests have produced more than 6 goals in Montreal contests. Winnipeg, this is one of the main reasons why I like the under here. Winnipeg has a goal for percentage of 60.61%, expected goal percentage of 48.16. They're overplaying their advanced stats, and there should be some offensive regression here. Take Winnipeg scoring goals, but this is a team that wants to win with defense. They've had 33 total goals scored in their last 10 5-on-5 contests, so you got 3.5 there. In 4 of their last 5 Jets home games have gone under the total. Winnipeg wants to play low-scoring games. Montreal on the road has played a lot of low-scoring games that people have not paid much attention to. We've got a total of 6. Granted, it's a low total, but the sharp books are going under on both of these games in the last half an hour. And so the wise guys are joining me on it. We'll see if it works out this way that we get the victories. But I'd like to be on the side before the closing value, and I think we're going to have closing value on both of these games.
And that's a little bit what I want to ask you about in the follow-up here, Brian. Both of these hockey games we talked about tonight are juiced to the under. I'm seeing 6.5 under 15, under 20, under 25. I'm seeing the 6, the same story, under 15, under 20 on those. Do you have any issues with laying extra juice to get the number you want in hockey? Is that a normal piece of the equation? And when you talk about those, it's only a nickel, it's only 10 cents more, does it add up with those? Is that a concern?
It's always a concern, and I knew this was going to happen. Well, I expected it to happen. You never know if you're agreeing with the consensus on it. But when I released these games, the Winnipeg under 6 was plus 100, and the Montreal the other game under 6.5 was minus 110. So my clients got better numbers than what we're seeing now. But a lot of times, the early action, at least to me, is the smart action in hockey. The overnight action is the smart action in hockey. The people who bet for a living do it early as possible. So if I'm on the same side as the people who make a living at this as well as I do, that's the side I want to be on. So yes, I am concerned when it moves too far, which is why I always put in all of my write-ups what this game is good until. So we still have value on both these sides, so that's why I'm still giving them out.
Dude, sorry about, there will be muting. I'm coughing, I'm sneezing, I'm hurting. I don't want to do it all live on air. Bri, what do you got to promote?
In addition to these two, which nobody has to pay for, cost everybody else who didn't join this show, cost them $25. So there you go. A nice advantage to everybody who watched the show today. I do have 3 plays up in college basketball. Those are for extended service clients, but my top play is available right now for only $15. You can get that right now. And I do want to remind everybody tomorrow, $2 Tuesday for everyone. Everyone is going to have one play up for $2 tomorrow. So should be a big day for all of us. And hopefully we all have a huge day for our clients. Been very good to us all year long. So best of luck to everyone today and tomorrow.
There we go. Bryan Leonard, everybody. Teddy covers. Before we get into the what did bettors learn, I'm going to do a slight recap. Look, I had a winning weekend for my clients, but I did lose my 5% play. I had the over in the Jacksonville game yesterday, and, it didn't hit. I had a 4% on Buffalo. That one was easy. I went 2-2 on Sunday overall, but man, losing those 5% plays kill me. And I had an equal amount of people purchase just the single 5% play as the 4-pack of NFL. Guys, we charge $4 more for the entire 4-pack. $4 more. I would say that suggests that we're begging you to buy the entire card and not just the single play. But to all those people who bought that single 5% play, my humble apologies. I did not take it well. I hate losing these 5% plays. It kills me. But man, I've been rolling like crazy for a few months now. I just can't win those plays on demand. I'm sorry. I'm going to have another 5% play Sunday. I'm actually putting it up today. I already know what the play is. So right back in the saddle for this Sunday. Teddy did win his 5% play. Congratulations to you, Baltimore Ravens. Nice call, my brother. What did bettors learn this weekend?
We got to talk a little BBBBBB like we do every Monday here during football season on WagerTalk Today. That, of course, a little bad beats, bad bets, and bad for the books. Yeah, there were some pretty, I'm not going to call brutal beats yesterday, but there certainly weren't some fun ones in the NFL this weekend. The Vikings +3 at Cincinnati, that was a pretty ugly push if you had Minnesota, considering they were leading wire to wire in that ball game and never trailed until the OT session. The Bears +2.5, another wire to wire job. They're winning by double digits in the 4th at Cleveland. They get stopped on downs on 4th and 1 up 10. And again, then a defense that had shut down Cleveland all day gave up scoring drives on 3 of 4 tries in the 4th quarter after shutting them down. And of course, Justin Fields throws a Hail Mary that hits Darryl Mooney in the hands and drops to the ground. Bears +2.5. That one, no fun for Chicago backers. How about the Jags +3 in the first half? There were +3 out there against Baltimore first half in that ballgame. They had 4 drives into Baltimore territory, 2 missed field goals, a Trevor Lawrence fumble, And then at the end of the half, they got a chance to do something and instead throw the ball, get tackled in bounds, and the clock runs out. They get nothing. Jags +3 first half. That was no fun either. And the Commanders, well, they were +6.5, +7 against the Rams, and they lost 2 points in the fourth quarter. First, the Rams go for 2, up 19. Doesn't happen all that much. They make it. They go up 21. And the Commanders get 2 late touchdowns. They mix the extra point on the second one. Instead of losing by 6, they lose by 8. And of course, the Rams -6.5, -7 all day. Tough if you had Washington yesterday. When it comes to bad bets, well, college football on Saturday. I had one of them. New Mexico State -1, bet up to -3.5 against Fresno. I did a big game breakdown talking about how no one was betting Fresno, and I couldn't make a case for Fresno. Well, Fresno made a case for themselves. Defense showed up in a real way. Wire-to-wire job, 37-10 final. Underdog wins outright. New Mexico State, a bad bet. Steelers took all the sharp money against the Colts, +3 down to +1. Even some pickups out there by kickoff. Pittsburgh took an early 13-0 lead and then lost 30-13, dominated the rest of the way. The Packers took the money yesterday against Tampa Bay. They were bet up to -4. The Bucks won outright by 2 touchdowns. And probably the worst bad bet of the day, heavy Jets money against the Dolphins. That was as high as +13. Got bet as low as +7. All right, Tyreek Hill didn't play. Didn't matter. Miami 30, Jets 0. Bad bets on New York. When it comes for bad for the books, well, bowl action on Saturday. The Miami App State game, let's just say there was weather. 13 total fumbles in that game. Only one of them led to a touchdown, though. The total bet from 50.5 down to 41, not low enough. 13-9 final. Books got buried with under money in that game. And the wise guys were all over UCLA against Boise. That was -2.5, -3, bet up to -6, 6.5. And it looked dismal early. The Broncos controlled the first half, but settled for field goals. 16-7 at the break. Second half, UCLA did not settle for field goals. Bruins win by 13. They get all the money. That was a bad result for the house. The Raiders and over was a bad result for the house as well. Nobody bet the Chargers without Herbert. Over money poured in before kickoff. That total was bet as low as 32.5, up to 36. Of course, the Raiders got to 63. And the books get the consolation prize. If I lose a bet, especially a big bet, and the coach gets fired the next day, I don't feel bad for the coach. Brandon Staley got fired the next morning for the Chargers. That was a bad result for the house. The Bears-Browns, that game did land in the middle. There were 3.5s out there. There were 3s. There were 2.5s. And, of course, Cleveland rallies to win by exactly 3. And the sharp money all over the Chiefs-Patriots over yesterday. 37 bet up to 40. 27-17 final. All that over money cashes. And the side kind of landed in the middle as well. There were 10.5s to take with New England. There were 9.5s to lay with KC in a 10-point Kansas City victory. That, too, not a great result for the books. So there you have it. Bad beats, bad bets, bad for the books. Back to you, Mr. Prez.
Teddy covers one of the best segments we've gotten. You know what's one of the best shows we have? The Opening Line Report. Teddy and Drew Martin, 1 p.m. Eastern every Monday. Teddy, I was in Vegas, man, and Marco and I went out for dinner with some really savvy professional bettors. They were talking about your Opening Line Report. They felt that it was one of the best shows out there, period. It's got a really nice angle to it. That show gets a ton of love, brother. Congratulations.
Yeah. I mean, it says, look, I've been doing one version or another of the NFL Opening Line Report for the last 20 years. All right. I'm doing it for WagerTalk Today. We're getting lots of views. We'll be on today, 10 o'clock Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern, live with Drew Martin. Appreciate the kind words, but whether you said them or not, I know it's a good show. It's the best NFL show in existence.
Okay, so there we go, Brian Power. We don't need to compliment Teddy ever again because he knows.
Wow.
He knows,
Yeah,
Brian.
that was. Hey, if you know, you know. It is a very good show. So, I mean, it can't be a good show unless if you are preparing to have it be, one of the best shows. So, yeah.
Hey, Power 5 is a great show too, brother. Every week.
Thank you.
Is it daily or weekly?
Right now, we are just doing it's bi-weekly. We usually we've been covering the NFL every week, and then we've been doing college football. Now we are turning to college basketball. since that needs attention every Saturday as well. And the show is doing very well every week. Buy low, sell high, give you a free play every week. And we also did pretty well on the board, too. Nice 5% winner on the Lions on Saturday. That was
nice.
about as easy as it gets. And then we had a 4% on the Bills on Sunday. Also as easy as it gets. We'll have more on the Bills later on. Unfortunately, I was on the wrong side, Teddy, with Jacksonville on Sunday night. As you pointed out in that excellent last segment. 6 drives inside the 40, and you get 3 points. You're not going to win. But Baltimore's a better team than Jacksonville.
I was on the over in that game, and Brian, I wanted to mention, and you reminded me. I think, Teddy, on Friday, or maybe it was a few weeks ago, we talked about teams that we just can never get right. Do you remember that segment when you and I were discussing, teams that just we're always wrong? And I said to you then, I'm never right on a Baltimore game. I pick Baltimore, they suck. I pick the other team, they're the best. And then I go and release a 5% play. I look at that game and I'm thinking 42 points. Baltimore has put up 40 in every damn game themselves. And then they go out and it's like a stone cold under. I am done. If any client of mine sees me with a bet on or against Baltimore, have the unit. Just automatically have the unit. Teddy?
And Prez, that wasn't on air. That was actually a conversation we had in person. When we were talking watching the games last Sunday. Yeah. So you're referencing a conversation that nobody has heard.
Well, now they know. Now they know that you had a team, did you not? Brian, we'll get to you. You had a team, did you not?
I'm sure I did, but I don't remember who it was anymore. It's weeks ago now.
Okay, Brian?
Yeah, we also do a stat of the week every week on the Power 5, and I want you guys to like this. Baltimore, if you want to know about Baltimore, they have been leading this year for over 90% of total game time. There are only 2 teams in NFL history who have led more through the first, 14 games in the regular season. Those 2 teams, Teddy will like this. Yeah, I think he's nodding. He already knows it. It's the 72 Dolphins and the 07 Patriots. Those 2 teams combined to lose 0 regular season games. So the Ravens are in pretty elite company. Heck of an operation that John Harbaugh is running there.
Brian Power, everyone. We got Priest Holmes inside of the chat room. He works for the IRS. Priest, I owe the IRS some money. How do I pay them? I don't even know. I'm Canadian. I'm actually baffled. Priest, I'm being serious. I owe the IRS cash. How do I pay them? Brian, let's get into it, brother. Eagles, Seahawks, tonight, Monday Night Football, total of 45. You're looking at the under in this game. Let's hear the handicap.
Yeah, let's start out by doing what everyone wants to hear, why I'm not playing either side, or at least not in a rush to bet either side, and I don't think anyone listening should be in a rush to bet either side either. The number's pretty much spot on. First of all, I had it at 3.5. That's where we're currently at, looking at the WagerTalk.com odds screen, unless it's changed in the last 20 minutes. You've got uncertainty at quarterback with Jalen Hurts being sick. He is expected to play. Geno Smith, though, dealing with a groin injury. Considered a long shot, they said, as of the reports an hour ago. If Smith doesn't go, it will be Drew Lock starting at quarterback for Seattle. And as you guys undoubtedly heard the chatter for many weeks, myself, others screaming how overrated the Eagles were, right? And that's certainly come to fruition, the back-to-back blowout losses to San Francisco and Dallas. You go back even further, okay? Why were we saying that this Eagles team might have been living on borrowed time? Okay, 6 straight games they've been outgained, 5 times by 100 yards or more, and they've also trailed by double digits in each of those 6 games. Great teams, in my opinion, do not consistently fall down by double digits like that. But you also have to look at who they faced, right, during this stretch. Dallas twice, Kansas City, Buffalo, and San Fran. All top 6 teams in the league in my book. The Seahawks, they've lost 4 in a row. They're not in that same class, obviously, especially if Locke is starting at quarterback. So I do want to look at the total here, Prez. I know the Eagles' defense has been reeling of late and now ranks dead last in the league on third down. And they don't have Darius Slay either, which stinks even more for them. But again, look at who they've played during this stretch. You face some of the offenses, the Dallases, the San Franciscos, the Buffaloes. Your defensive numbers are going to hurt. I've seen a lot of people make an argument in the prop market for DK Metcalf tonight. there is a new wrinkle in the handicap with Matt Patricia taking over defensive play calling duties for the Eagles. He's a Belichick disciple. He typically sells out. Belichick always sells out to stop the number one receiver for the opponent. So, end of the day here, we know we're not going to have two fully healthy starting quarterbacks. Primetime unders, we know the trend. 64-35 since the start of last season, 31-17 this year. And it's been Sunday and Monday, Teddy, as you know, when you really want to bet the unders. 51-21 last two seasons. Monday nights, 15-4 last 19, although we did have the two overs last week. I think it's a return to the under trend tonight. A big key to my handicap, Seattle plays slow, bottom 5 in pace. They're certainly not going to be in a rush to snap the ball if Drew Lock is under center. And as it often does in the Pacific Northwest, guys, it is supposed to rain tonight. So I like the under.
So let's talk about Drew Lock versus Geno Smith. And in my mind, I have Drew Lock as the over quarterback and Geno Smith as the under quarterback. Lock is a QB who's not afraid to take shots downfield, and Lock makes a lot more mistakes than Geno tends to do. Do you have that same assessment? And would you be more inclined to play under if Geno is behind center versus Lock behind center, or is it a non-factor in your handicap?
Let's go back to something Bryan Leonard said in the last segment when Prez grilled him about the power plays and how it's hard to handicap variance. I agree with you, Teddy, that with Drew Lock in there is a higher degree of variance with turnovers, right? He certainly, could just throw a bad interception that gives the Eagles a short field. You do have to consider that, but at the same time, I'm not going to say, well, that's definitely going to happen. It's not like he has something screaming in his profile that says, yes, he will throw an interception tonight. It doesn't really for me. My concern is actually the defenses, but again, I'm looking at two quarterbacks. Drew Lock would be healthy, but he's just not very good, in my opinion. I know he had decent numbers against the 49ers last week, but these backup quarterbacks tend to turn into pumpkins after people get tape on them. And the Eagles, they've got a lot of problems on offense. If you listen to the local chatter, people calling their routes predictable and whatnot. So it's Monday night. Hey, I think the under's the way to go. It usually is.
Brian Power joining us, everyone. Brian, you were on the Bills yesterday. So was I. So was a lot of people. It was a really, really bad spot for Dallas. Now they're playing the Chargers this week. Chargers are plus 14. They have the new coach bump. Don't buy it on this in this instance. You kind of need players to help on that new coach bump. I'm looking at the Bills right off the bat, even though it's minus 14. Where are you going in this game?
Well, I don't think you're going to like this then, Prez. A month ago.
I don't care.
Okay, it was a month ago on this very program, if you guys remember. I said I still considered the Bills a top 5 team in the league, and they made me look good yesterday. It was a bad spot for Dallas, Prez, and they're obviously not the same team away from home as they are at Jerry World. But those who follow me know I have no loyalty to any team whatsoever. And this week, I think we sell high on the Bills, and you're going to have to hold your nose in this one. And I preface this by saying I understand no one is going to want to bet the Chargers after what happened against the Raiders. You talk about they call it the new manager bounce in soccer. It worked, and you're right. It's not a guarantee, Prez, because it worked for the Raiders. They covered. I think they even won outright in their first game with Antonio Pierce. But the Panthers, it didn't work for them. I think I've got all the in-season coaching changes covered there. But to me, the number here and the spot just scream, I've got to take the points with LA. We're getting 2 TDs at home. That seems outrageous. Yes, Easton Stick is still the quarterback for a Chargers team that lost by 42 to a Raiders team that had lost 3-0 the previous game. But I cannot get close to this number in my part. I think this number is way too high. The look ahead was minus 9.5. Obviously, there needed to be an adjustment based on how good the Bills looked yesterday, how bad the Chargers looked Thursday. But I think it's an over adjustment. This is the bottom of the market on the Chargers. If it's not, I'd hate to see what is. They get humiliated on national television, backup quarterback, fire their head coach. Really, if anything, firing Brandon Staley should have a positive effect, right? I mean, everyone's been calling for this guy's head now for 2 years. So if there's any professional pride whatsoever with the Lightning Bolts, I say they show up and give it effort here coming off the mini bye And I looked at the box scores. I often do. I'm sure you guys do as well. In that Chargers-Raiders game, total yards were pretty close to dead even. It was 5 turnovers that were the story. 2 of them returned for touchdowns by the silver and black. I think the Raiders had 3 other touchdown drives that started in Chargers territory. And remember, earlier in the year, the Bills, who can sometimes play up or play down to their competition, they lost outright at New England. I'm not saying they're going to lose outright here, given that they know they need to win out to make the playoffs. But I think this game's going to be a little bit closer than what the odds makers think. Bills may be coming a little too fat and happy. And the Chargers, again, let's show some professional pride, guys. I would take the 2 scores in this game.
So the early money is certainly agreeing with you. The 14s are gone. The 13s are gone. The 12s are getting bet right now. I'm seeing anywhere from 11.5 to 12.5 right now for the Bills against the Chargers. So the early week sharp money is certainly agreeing with your assessment. My question to you is this. Buffalo's shown us when they win, they're a blowout team. 5 of their 8 wins this year have come by 3 touchdowns or more, just annihilating teams. They did it last week against Dallas. Can't they do it here?
Yeah, and I was prepared. I knew this. I always like to guess what your follow-up question is going to be, Teddy, and I had a feeling it might be this. Yeah, you look at the Bills' point differential. It's why when I was on here last month, I kept a lot of faith. That's their profile. They win by margin, and then they lose close. I don't think they have a single loss by less than 6 points this year. Looking through, I'm doing that off the top of my head. I think that's true, though. Yes, they absolutely could. I mean, if you look at the state of these 2 rosters right now, sure, they could blow out the Chargers. I just think this spot and this number screams, you talk about the sharp money coming in. Okay, there's going to be at some point, it's got to be enough points for the Chargers, but getting double digits at home. I know Arizona just failed to cover in this spot, but even with the Chargers looking atrocious last Thursday, I still think the Chargers are better than the Cardinals, and I don't think the Bills are as good as the 49ers. So I can't get to this number, Teddy. It's a strictly number and spot perspective. Again, the mini buy for the Chargers, it just screams take the dog for me. Obviously, the Bills are the better team. I cannot make an argument to the contrary. I don't think anyone in America could.
I think Bryan is clearly high. I'm kidding, Bryan. Dude, okay. I look at Teddy's handicap. Teddy made one sentence, and that's what when the Bills win, they win going away. The Bills have an interesting path to the playoffs. I mean, they might win out and still not make it. Anyway.
Or they could win the division because Miami might lose out. Yeah, got a lot to promote. We're red hot in the NFL, 22-11 last 33, 9-2 last 11 in college football. We hit 67% in the bowls. Bryan Leonard talked about that great $2 promotion we've got running on Tuesday. I will have something up for that. Basketball, we're up over 70 units the last 10 months in both NBA and college combined, even number 1 in soccer ROI this season. So no matter what sport you like, I've got you covered. WT.buzz/PP right there on the screen. That's the place to go.
There we go. Bryan Power, thanks for joining us, my brother. Guys, we need to get to 125 likes if you want a daily presidential address. Right now, it's Teddy Covers Big Game Breakdown, and then Carmine Bianco will be joining us. Teddy, the mic is yours.
It's Big Game Breakdown time. And already today on WagerTalk Today, we talked Monday Night Football. We've talked NHL. We've talked NFL for next week. Let's talk a little NBA for Monday night. And this one should be fun. The Knicks and the Lakers. Right now, look at the WagerTalk live odds screen. We've seen a little bit of Knicks money. The +4.5s are now down to +4. We've seen a ton of over money, at least since the opener from yesterday. Total sitting at 234.5. This opened as low as 226.5 yesterday. So a fair bit of over money and a little bit of Knicks money. And the over money you get, I mean, the Knicks aren't playing any defense right now. Mitchell Robinson got hurt, and without Mitchell Robinson, they've allowed 130 plus of 4 times in the last 6 games. They gave up 144 to the Clippers over the weekend. That's not necessarily a good sign. Both these teams coming off losses, both have been pretty good off a loss. The Lakers in particular, 5-1 against the spread off their last 6 losses. And the only ATS loss, 5-1 against the spread off the last 6 straight up losses. And the only point spread loss came by a half point in a game that they dominated most of the way and then let it get away late. But Lakers have been good off a loss. And, of course, they're coming off a bad loss to San Antonio, a game where they were playing without Anthony Davis and Cam Reddish and D'Angelo Russell. And LeBron's quote, our team is not built to have 3 starters out. We were just limited with bodies. That's not likely to be the case. All the guys who missed over the weekend expected to play tonight. And Darvin Ham already looking forward to that game after last. We have a big week coming up, starting with New York on Monday. So Lakers are paying attention here. They should have their guys back. From a rest perspective, Lakers haven't played since Friday. Lakers have only played 3 games in the last, I think it's 11 days. This will be the Knicks' 6th during that same span. Their 3rd game in 4 nights. They're missing their big man in the middle in Robinson. And basically the only decent team they've beaten since he got hurt was Phoenix, and that was a night where Jalen Brunson went ballistic. I'm not convinced Brunson goes ballistic here. The Lakers are the clear choice for this better. Give me LA minus the 4. And there's your big game breakdown. Back to you, Mr. Prez.
Teddy covers, Carmine Bianco joining us. Carm, dude, I got to tell you, man, before we get into anything else, look, you're one of the hosts of Puck Time. Everybody really puts you in that pigeonhole of soccer and hockey. But you are an incredible bettor in all sports. And your NFL, I'm going to read your NFL run to everybody. You on the year are 61% in all your NFL plays, up 63 units of profit. And you're on a 19-2 NFL Sunday run. Guys, do not sleep on this man's NFL. It's incredible. Unbelievable. Welcome to the show, dude. Glad to have you.
Yeah, thanks. No, it's been a good run. Sundays in particular. So I've been focusing on it. Was 4-0 a couple weeks ago, 3-0-1 yesterday with the push being the Browns and a 5% play on the Kansas City Chiefs that got there. So pretty happy about the way the NFL is going thus far.
There we go. Let's get into an NFL prop bet for tonight's NFL game. What do you got for us?
Yeah, so the guys have already spoken about the fact that Jalen Hurts. We don't know his status tonight. It's an illness. It's probably the flu. He was on a different charter going to Philadelphia. He wouldn't make the trip there if it was anything other than something like the flu. If it was any type of injury, I don't think he'd be there. But I like the DeAndre Swift rushing number, and this one's going to continue to. I think it's still going to go up a couple of yards. It's at 57.5 when I sent it into you guys. I'm seeing some 58.5s and some 59s pop up, and you look at Swift's numbers. He's off a couple subpar performances against the 49ers and the Cowboys, who are both very good defensive teams, although the Cowboys really didn't show it yesterday. But he only carried 6 and 11 times in those games. But prior to that, he was averaging 16 carries, 76.7 yards per game. And that discounts, that's the last 10 games. That discounts the first game of the season. The first game of the season against the New England Patriots, he wasn't even the number 1 or number 2 running back. He was number 3 on the depth chart, played like a handful of snaps in that game, only got like 1 carry. He's been good since. And you look at Seattle, and they're the 23rd ranked team against the rush this season. They allow 4.4 yards per carry, which in essence really isn't that bad. Like 123.4 yards per game rushing they allow, and it's been really bad the last 5 or 6 weeks. If you look at the top rusher in the last 6 weeks, other than the Washington game, where Robinson only got 38 yards. The top rusher has had 68 or more yards, 68, 73, 138, 114, 145. And even if Jalen Hurts plays, or if it's locked, you have to believe if Hurts plays, he's not 100%. The rushing game is going to be important to this Philly team to get a win and stay number 1 in the NFC East. So I like this prop. But it's one of those things like Bryan Leonard talks about. Get the number as early as you can, because it's not going to go down. It's only going to go up.
So Swift is at 4.1 yards per carry in 8 of his last 10 games. You talked about the last 2 games where he hasn't really gotten much of an opportunity, in large part because Philly was way down in those contests. But, we're talking about a guy that's been at 16 or fewer carries in 7 of his last 8 contests. So his usage rate isn't really high. One, are you worried about Philly falling behind here? And 2, are you worried that Swift's usage rate isn't what you hope it might be on Monday Night Football?
No, I think the fact that I'm not worried about them falling behind, only because I think if Hurts plays, number one, if Hurts plays, I like the Eagles just a little bit more. Of course, I'd rather have him in there, of course, at QB. But I think either QB in there. I think the running game, I think there's an uptick as far as the running game. I think he gets more than 16 carries tonight. I think he's a bigger part of the offense tonight just because of the status of either of whether Hurts plays or whether Locke plays. They say it's going to be a game time decision. We'll see. But I think the fact that this number is getting steamed up through the morning and likely early afternoon. Lends to the fact that even if Hurts is in there, he's not 100%. And he's played, I think, 1 game with a flu, did fine through that. But it comes back to the fact that I think his output, both carries and receiving out of the backfield, are higher in this game. I think he's going to be the biggest part of this offense tonight. You can look at Lockett, of course, for them, but or not Lockett for him. Sorry, you can look at Brown for them, but the Brown number is just so high. So I'm going to stick with this Swift one and look for this number to go over the total.
Carmine Bianco, everyone. We spoke about his NFL record, 61% on the year. If you want the rest of his NFL season all the way through the Super Bowl, use promo code NFL50. That's NFL50. That's $50 off of his package. Carm, no follow-up question on this. Just give your bet, and then we'll move on. You got a prop, not a prop bet. You got a bet for us on the Anaheim-Detroit game. What is it?
Yeah, I'll make this one quick. Listen, the Ducks come off that win yesterday against the New Jersey Devils, winning 5-1. But this is a team that's been bad on the road thus far this season, 6-9, minus 14 goal differential. And Detroit's got to be the play here, but you can't lay that number. I'd rather take the puck line and take a little bit of plus money, plus 110 on them. In the 7 prior games that the Ducks had lost, they were allowing 4.57 goals per game. They're not a good team. Playing a little bit, that wins is a surprise, but they're on the second of a back-to-back. You've got the Wings tonight at home, coming off a 1-0 loss to the Flyers, looking to bounce back. And Coach Lalonde of Detroit announced this morning that Dylan Larkin's back in the lineup. So that's automatically that is an improvement to their offense. I think they get the win tonight. Ducks have only played 3 games thus far. The second on back-to-backs. The first one was right at the beginning of the season, the first couple of games. Their last 2 games have ended in 3-1 and 8-2 losses. I think another lopsided loss tonight, something in the range of 4-1, 5-1 for the Wings gets us that money. So minus 1.5 plus 110 puck line.
There we go. Carmine Bianco. Thank you, my brother. Teddy, we got close enough. Close enough. You know what? I'm not going to... We're 3 away. I assume you haven't hit like yet. Same with Carmen Bry. We'll call it 125. Dan, cue up the daily presidential address. Okay, everybody, it's time for your daily presidential address. I got a couple of hockey bets to give out. Before we do that, I just want to tell you guys, if you're not playing my NHL and hoops, I don't know why you bet. Honest to God, it makes no sense to me. This is not a flash in the pan. Last year, I made 125 units of profit in basketball combined. I was close to 30 units of profit in college basketball. I was 95 units of profit in NBA. This year, I'm doing exactly the same thing. My college basketball is currently on a 22-5 run. 22 wins, 5 losses. My NHL is on a 7-1 run. I'm close to 60% on the season in NHL. Double-digit units of profit. My NBA, rocking and rolling. Everything I'm doing right now is winning except more of my 5% plays. And I don't have one today. I got 2 4% plays though, and I'm on a 24-14 run in those. It's like, just bet me every day and you will win. Simple. I got 1 college basketball, 1 NHL, and 1 NBA play up for tonight. As for your free bets tonight, I like the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Dallas Stars, and I do like Detroit minus 1.5, a pick that Carmine Bianco gave out. Teddy, hard stop at 12:45. It's 12:45. Take us home.
Sure. That's going to wrap it for the Monday edition of Wager Talk Today. We'll do it again tomorrow. Same time, same channel, 9 a.m. here on the left coast, noon for you back east. Stay tuned right here on the Wager Talk YouTube channel for the NFL opening line report. Myself and Drew Martin at the top of the hour. Enjoy the games and best of luck with all your wagers.